Good evening, everybody, and I hope you're all keeping YouTube land on this. Oh, the sun has just come out. It's been a wet, drizzy, horrible day today. Um, I've got a couple of different guests in tonight, and I'll just bring them in. I've got Joe Senior, who is
Evening.
probably sitting next to Glenn. In fact, I know she's sitting next to Glenn because he's been whining and moaning that I haven't started yet.
That would
And
be
we've
him.
got Brian at Woodturning. It's a busy week this
Evening,
week.
folks.
We've got Dale on the move from down south up to here, and he's got Andy, Jamie, and Scott giving him a hand on the initial move. The rest of the furniture and everything should be arriving with the moving people at some point tomorrow. But he only left. I think he went to see Wayne of the Big Feet this afternoon, but he only left there about an hour ago, I think. So he's going to have a late night. He's staying in a hotel overnight, or all of them are staying in a hotel overnight. So it's going to be a late by the time they get there, because it's going to take them 3.5, 4 hours to get away from Sheffield, I think. Plus the M74 is closed. But that's the news for tonight. So I'll pop the guys in the back.
A bit of good news as usual.
I'll pop the guys in the background. I'll change cameras. And tonight, I have got a piece of sycamore on the lathe. It's just over 12 inches diameter by about 2 inches thick. The bottom I'm going to keep plain, or fairly plain. I might stick some texture on like I usually do, but it's going to be fairly plain. The top, on the other hand, the rim is going to be coloured, textured, and have embellishing wax on. And right in the centre of the dish, that's going to be coloured textures and have some embellishing wax on. And I'm also going to colour the inside as well, all with intrinsic colours. I'm not using paint tonight. I'm using intrinsic colours. I'll just bring up the YouTube chat. Jo sometimes has problems with her pad or whatever she's using flipping out, so she might put a message in the chat that she's back in the background. If you could let me know on that one, Brian, please.
I will indeed if she falls asleep again.
Oh, give me a break.
No,
I'll
I'll
start.
never live
I'll
that
start.
down.
I'll start some turning, and the guys can let me know what's happening in the chat.
Yeah, I can
Okay.
do that. Good evening, everybody. So we've got Wood Wizardry by Colin, Gerard the French Turner, Steve Fleming, Malcolm Douglas, Dave Oakey, Andy H is turning, Josh Scarborough, Brian at Harwood turning.
Yep, I'm
Dodgy
here,
fella, that
definitely.
fella. He's dodgy.
Oh, dodgy, totally.
Darren Callison, Trevor P. Hovey Turner, Malcolm Douglas, I've said him already, Robert Dolman, Terry Bartlett, Secretary Wood by Keith, Barry Kitty, Paul Hoyton, the Greaser Turner, Martin at Woody's Creations. We've got Pat Cummings, James Crawford, Tony Smith. Hi Tony, I don't recognise your name in the chats. Good evening.
Good evening, Tony.
Ah, you do obviously.
No, I don't know. I was just saying hello.
All right, Mike Lang, Stuart Ingrill, Jay Cabin, Italia de Ligno Matthias.
That's Lionel.
That's Lionel.
No,
Yeah.
it isn't.
Oh no, it's not. It's
No.
Matthias, isn't it?
That's
It
Matthias,
is.
yeah.
It's our Swiss distributor. Is Matthias.
That's right. Yeah.
Matthias, yeah.
We've got. You're going to keep correcting me, out, is Brian. Okay. William Kenny, Tommy's Workshop.
There's only 56 in so far, so yeah,
Dave
you have a few.
Gatton. I know it sounds as if there's 100. Nick Castle, Ruby Clare, the Woodwork Learner, which I think is Andy. Woodturning by Barry, David Vaughan, Spider Spid. Copper Owl Woodturning, I think that's Rob.
It is.
Indeed. Yep. Evening, Rob.
I'm remembering a little bit. Keep going. When they're chatting, it repeats. JTD Blair. Hi, Blair. And that is it for now, I believe.
I
Welcome,
think
everybody.
you've done a good job. Don't think you missed anyone out. If we did, stick your name back in the bottom and we'll give you a shout out. Welcome,
I knew
everybody.
you keep it
Right. I believe Mark's away out for dinner tonight, isn't he?
Mark is, indeed he is.
Mark?
Is
Yeah,
he with
he's
his
gone out
lady
with.
tonight.
He's gone out with Terry and Steve, hasn't he?
Tim
No,
and Stephen.
not till Friday.
No, that's Friday.
Oh, that's right. Okay, that's Friday.
He's going somewhere with Kim today, this evening. So he said he may
Yeah.
pop in for a minute or two and just to say hello.
I
Grand.
think.
Yes, look,
Uh-huh.
Mark the gentleman.
Did you miss
Gentleman
me?
would
He's
turn
in,
it. Did
yeah.
you miss me? No, we didn't miss you. We just
No, we
ignored you
didn't.
completely.
Yeah. But I
No, we
to you
didn't, Mark.
anyway.
We're only kidding.
I think
We know you're at Kim's.
Steve and Nikki are seeing Terry and Ruth today.
Terry and Ruth today.
Oh, that's right. Yeah, that's right. Terry did say when I shoved
Can't
the.
keep up with it myself.
Should have sharpened that.
Ooh.
Yeah, I remember saying that once, Wayne. I think you told me.
Oh, you broke up a little bit there, Brian. Just repeat that.
No, that's not like me. Yeah, Wayne once told me before that if you think your chisel needs sharpened, sharpen it.
Sharpen them.
Yeah. Good evening, Ben. We've got Benjamin in.
Evening, Ben. Even though he did say hello, ladies.
There goes the neighbourhood.
That's it.
Yeah.
Douglas must be. Is Douglas in too? I hadn't seen Douglas' name. Did we see Douglas?
I haven't seen it. Well,
No, Rob CP
heard anybody
is
mention
in as well.
No.
Hi, Rob.
Evening, Rob.
And
How's the
Steve
stew
Ellis
practice
joined
going?
us. Evening, Steve. Do you have a favourite colour embellishing wax then, Wayne?
Well, it depends on what colour of or what intrinsic colour I'm going to be using.
Okay. You've got your favourite intrinsic colours though, haven't you?
I do, yeah. Tends to be the ruby and the honey tend to be my favourites.
Just a lovely home-cooked roast chicken dinner and now enjoying a well-deserved beer.
Now, who cooked the dinner?
Then.
Who cooked the dinner?
I'm not asking.
If Mark cooked the dinner, he deserves the beer. If he didn't, he doesn't deserve the beer.
So Don McKee has just joined us. Good evening, Don.
Hi, Don.
Hi, Don.
Douglas is in, guys. And he says that Wayne's favourite colour must be the colour of Joe's lovely eyes.
Oh.
What a foodie you are, Douglas.
Hey, come on, guys. Come on.
That's all I can say. So Wayne has got a couple of links there. One highlight at the top of the chat, guys, is for Mark's premiere later, just after Wayne. And in the chat, in the description, he has Zombie the Woodturner. His link there as well. I'll put them in just a little bit later on before we're finished. So you can pop over and see them later today.
Mill Valley Maker, is that Dave? Is in.
I'm not very sure of his name.
No, I'm not sure either if it's Dave or not.
I could be wrong.
I don't think it is
Dave,
it?
so yes, I said Dave.
All right,
so I'm hoping so. Robert Lapsley's in.
Robert
Hey,
Lapsley's got a question too, Wayne.
Oh, my life.
Any idea how I can remove a smear of super glue from my specs?
Now, what I've done in the past is use a very, very sharp Stanley blade, trying not to scratch the glasses.
Ooh.
Wow.
I'm not very sure, because the thing is, if you use a very, very sharp Stanley blade, you can usually just get the edge of the super glue and flick it, and it'll just flick off.
Right. Mark suggested a razor blade, so I suppose.
Well, the same thing, yeah.
Same kind of thing, isn't it? And Ruby says the only way she's found is get new glasses.
Yeah, new glasses.
See, the thing is, if you try and use a solvent with modern glasses lenses, a lot of them are plastic.
Yeah.
So
Right, yeah.
I think solvent may well affect the plastic.
Maybe I'll melt it.
Willow Taylor has joined us. Hi, Willow.
Willow Taylor, that's a name I haven't heard before.
No, I don't think I have either.
Good evening, Willow.
The other thing you could do is actually take them to your local opticians. I've found opticians are very helpful with cleaning and things like this.
I need to go and get my eyes tested. Joy English is in the chat.
Hiya, Joy.
Evening, Joy.
Now, I went and got my eyes tested, 3 weeks ago. Needed a very slight change in my prescription. So I got that, and then I ordered new specs from Select Specs.
All right. How does that work?
So
you send them your prescription, and if you've got, mine is still fairly expensive because I wear varifocals.
Right,
but if you've just got an ordinary prescription, Select Specs tend to be very, very cheap. You can actually get prescription glasses from around about £6.
Right. Well.
that's
Now,
good.
Joy actually said that once you get most of the glue scraped off, you should be able to use rubbing alcohol.
Yeah, that'll be fine.
Rich the Beard 16's in. Good evening, Rich.
Hiya, Rich.
Evening, Rich.
How are you keeping?
And we've got
Benjamin
Henry Morgan,
suggests.
who's joined us, and Christine and Michael Heseltine.
Hi, Christine, Michael.
Good evening to you
So-
all.
And Benjamin says if you freeze it, that will weaken the bond.
Oh, now that's
There you go.
It's an interesting
Yeah.
thought.
That's spot on that. Door 60's in. Good evening, Door.
Hiya, Dor.
You've got 76 people watching, Wayne.
Excellent. Cheers, guys.
So remember, folks, if anybody's got a question, just take a couple of questions in the front. There'll be your comment, and we'll try and pick it up and hand it over to Wayne.
Now, Mobile is saying, is the SRG over 1 inch? What's SRG?
SRG is a spindle roughing gauge. There's not one being used here.
No.
Right.
My spindle roughing gouge, though, is that's my wrong camera. That's my spindle roughing gouge. I think that's about 1.25 inches, that one.
That's a big one, Wayne.
That's what she said.
Oh no! Oh no, she didn't.
I'm glad I wasn't the only one who asked that. What was an SRG? Rob CP asked that question too, so I don't feel as daft. Steve Ash, Learner Turner, has a question. Is there anything I should be cautious about when turning plywood? I kind of like the look of ply vases.
Hang on, wait till I finish this cut.
Okay.
Okay, love.
Right, the one thing,
Oh,
two things actually that you need to be wary of. Number one is the glue that's used. That can be a bit nasty. And the second one is the glue that's used, because it can be very, very hard on your tools.
What glue is it?
And I don't know. There'll be some sort of industrial strength glue that's used on plywood. It'll probably it'll be a water resistant glue that's used on marine plywood. but it's very, very hard on your tools.
Okay.
I do know that.
So, in relation to the spindle roughing gouge question, it was Rob that said he had a new spindle roughing gouge. That's why the
All
question was asked. But the next one, as a lead on to that, spindle roughing gouge, you can correct me if this is wrong, Wayne, is measured across the flute or across the
I would say
of the flute, if you like.
Right, we'll finish this cut and I'll just measure mine just to let you know.
You know how some gouges are measured the shaft width and others are measured the width.
Well, it tends to be in the UK. It tends to be in the UK. Certainly with bowl gouges, we measure across the flute for bowl gouges, and in the States they measure across the shaft of the gouge.
The shaft.
With this one, to us in the UK, this is a 3/8 bowl gouge because it's 3/8 of an inch across the flute.
Yeah.
But the Americans call this a 1/2 inch bowl gouge because it's actually a 1/2 inch shaft on this.
Right. Okay. Not confusing then.
No, not confusing at all. And when it gets to spindle gouges, it's even worse because sometimes there's just no correlation between where they measure things.
No.
Right, now across on my spindle roughing gouge across the flute it's an inch. So this is probably an inch, and across the whole of the bar it is an inch and oh, what the hell is that? That's a quarter. Inch and 5/8, I think it is. So
I would assume that the British manufacturers are making it just the width of the
width of the flute.
The flute itself, yeah.
Yeah, I would think so. Right, I'm just going to do one. Yeah, go on.
Sorry, Jason Leveron and Glyn, you actually get to come into the chat.
Good evening, Glyn.
Evening, Glyn.
Hang on, what time is it? What time is it? Where the hell have you been? Where have you been, Glyn? It's nearly 20 past bloody 8 here.
You tell him, Wayne. You tell him.
We've got Woodturning.
He was complaining 10 minutes before we started that you hadn't started.
I know. Hiya, Paul. Right, I'm just taking a very, very, very fine cut here as a finishing cut. And what I try to do, and this usually doesn't happen, but what I try to do with a finishing cut is just do one cut all the way around. And I usually lose it at around about halfway.
That's funny, that happens to me too.
Look at that.
So Tommy's Workshop suggests that plywood glues tend to have a lot of formaldehyde.
Formaldehyde.
Which is not a good chemical.
No, it isn't, is it?
No. Bailey's Woodworks has joined in.
And also Di Prout and Katie Cornish have come in as well.
Oh, there's Di. I didn't see Di.
And Chris from Bailey Woodworks has joined us.
Wow. We have got 91 watching now,
Excellent. Thanks, guys. So that was a nice final finishing cut. That's looking pretty good. I will get that. I'll get this. Let's see. Should I texture it first or sand it first?
Start sanding at 240, I would think, with that cut.
Yeah.
That was pretty good looking.
Right, what will I start with? I'll start with 120. That way I'll just be sanding twice.
Don't forget to hit the thumbs up button, guys, if you've enjoyed what you've seen today. Rob CP, look at my question above. Rob, we just answered that question, mate. The spindle roughing gouge is measured, we think, from the inside of the flute. Across the flute.
Across the flute, yeah. We think.
That's what Rob CP has just said.
So I'm spending the day in the workshop tomorrow. I'm going to sort out my dust extraction better, because really the dust extractor that I've got down here is very, very loud to be used on a live. So I'm going to move it to the other side of the workshop, and I'm going to wire it up so I can actually switch it on from over here.
Good job. You can use those little like remote controls you get for plugs, and just plug it into the wall and plug your machine into
Well,
the
the thing is with this, yeah, the thing is with this one is that it doesn't have a, it's a lumberjack one, this one, and it doesn't have a no volt release switch on it. So I can just actually plug it in and just switch it on and off at the socket. So I can use one of my sockets that I've got over here.
Yeah, that's
right,
perfect.
I'll stick a bit of texturing on this. I'm going to turn the speed down to 500. I'm running about 800 at the moment. I'll turn it down to just under 500. And get my texturing tool. Well, this is the Robert Sorby texturing tool. And the way you use this is that you get this, so the bar is horizontal and right on the center. Now, this does come with a proper steady, which is a flat portion that goes underneath, where you can actually alter the angle and keep it at that angle. But I like to use this at different angles, so I've basically taken mine off. And you can see, I think you can see that it's got one straight side and it's got a bevel on the other side. And you tend, when you're doing the cut, you tend to use with the side with the bevel.
Looks a beast.
So it does. So what I'm going to do is just put a quick texture in the center.
So the wood's coming down onto the bevel.
Yeah, the wood's coming down onto the bevel.
Right.
Yeah, I'm happy with that one. And
Billy
I'll do now is use my... Yeah, go on.
Billy Woodworth is asking, does anyone do the inside of a bowl first and then the outside? He says, I haven't tried it. I've never seen it. Just curious.
To tell you the truth, I don't think I've ever seen it either.
I don't think I have either.
I have seen one. I have seen bowls done in one. I'm saying one piece. In one go. So what they do is they shape the outside of the bowl, going from the outside down towards the chuck. It's usually on a glue block when they do this, and then they do the inside of the bowl in the same orientation.
Right.
Right. Oh yeah. Yeah. Okay. That would be awkward, wouldn't it?
Right. I'll just highlight that. That's grand. Move it round. I'll do my usual on this. I'll put one piece of texturing at the base.
Rob CP is asking me.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
Go on.
Rob CP is just asking me how my skew practice is going for the Robo thing. If I say poorly, would that be give you an idea? I had a bad day today with the skew.
All right.
Just one of those days. Put it away and come back to it tomorrow.
And I'll just put another bit of texture up at the top.
Your regret has said, that's a BB36 party trick, Wayne, as you know, laughing out loud.
Yep. Because the big bowl that is down at Glenn's, busy turning double on the floor, that was turned, basically that was put onto a faceplate It's 3 foot diameter by 12 inches deep. That was put onto a faceplate and we turned both the outside and the inside, sometimes at the same time, because we had more than one person working on it sometimes.
That was brave.
I didn't see any video
Right
of that.
then. We didn't actually take a lot of videos of that, to tell you the truth, Brian, which was a bit of a shame. I think Jamie took a couple of minutes, but that was about all that got took. So I'm just using Chestnut Products spray on cellulose standing sealer. Yeah,
Sorry,
go on, Brian.
John Scarborough is saying, what effect did twisting the tool give Wayne? So
It actually
changed. Can you?
Right, okay, but I'll see if I can show it properly. I might be able to show it better when I do the rim, because I'll be doing it on the I may well be doing it on the top of colour. But when I change the direction, so at this bit here, it actually changes the pattern.
Yeah.
So you get a different pattern when you change the direction of the cutter.
So we'll make a better look at it when you show us the bolt at the end.
Yeah, well, I'll wait till I flip this round, and I should be able to show you once I flip it round. So now I'm going to get some grit onto this.
Oh. Jason Levin's asking, are you going to burn in the lines on the outside of the bowl?
No. It would make it stand out, wouldn't it?
It would.
Right, hang on. Now, the thing is, we're doing this, is that I can never find my pieces of bloody stuff. Oh, there we go.
As if by magic.
Shazam. Benjamin says, I cannot work with the skew going left to right. I'm just going to have to design all my pieces to have shapes going right to left. Problem solved. I think everybody has the same issue. You can get it good one way and not so good the other. Particularly when turning a bead.
It's just practice.
Now, isn't
it is absolutely just practice. Wayne, Andy, the woodwork learner, has asked you a question, Wayne. Have you tried texturing using Dremel bits?
Oh, yes. Yeah, I've done all that. Some of my videos, if you go back into my back catalogue, you will see that I've used long neck grinder with a small Arbitic bit. I've used Dremel. In my Dremel, I use the rotary chisel, which is a thing that you get you've got to get it from the States. The company is called Rotary Chisel. They don't have a UK distributor, so you've got to get them from the States, but they are absolutely brilliant.
Stuart's asking, where can you get small bits of Formica from?
Go to your local, if you've got a local, kitchen bathroom place. They do samples, and that's all this is. It's a sample.
Lewis, the Klondike Craftsman's in. Good evening.
Hi, Lewis.
Good evening, Lewis.
This one's not playing as well.
Gordon's joined in with that. He says kitchen showrooms. That's exactly the right place. Or if you happen to know a joiner who does kitchen fitting, that might be another source.
Yeah, that's the point.
That's where I got mine from.
That's not working on that one. That's weird, isn't it?
Stuff. You have to get.
It's going. Maybe it's going too slow in the middle there, Wayne.
Maybe. Anyway, it's polished it up.
Yeah.
Oh well, that's something.
Oh, that's good then. Save you signing that bit.
Oh, this is getting empty.
Yeah, sometimes when the wood in the middle is turning, not just fast enough to create enough friction.
Yeah.
I think. Whereas around the end, it's kind of whizzing round, isn't it?
Now, you're probably going to see me doing something here that I tend to say to people not to do. Although Robbo, on one of his videos the other week, said he doesn't see anything wrong in doing it as long as you're careful, and that is using a cloth. Because what I've found over the past few weeks, whenever I use paper towel over the top of texturing,
it catches.
it catches, and you spend an absolute bloody age trying to get rid of it. So bear with me a second.
Glyn says you got 2 more tins on the way up tomorrow, Wayne.
Oh, cheers, mate. Much appreciated. Scissors, where to put my scissors? There they are.
The amount of stuff you need. I mean, wood turning, and I was expecting wood and a chisel. And look at all the stuff you have to have.
Yeah. That's what I thought too when I first started. Look at me now.
The thing is, Joe, what you've got to remember is that with a lot of new wood turners, a lot of them want to have everything at once.
Yeah.
Which is understandable. Certainly if they are advancing very, very quickly, they want to try new things, and that usually involves new tools. Mine have been collected over 30 odd years.
Fair enough.
Right, turn this down around about 250. I tend to start with, just to get it rubbed in. I know I didn't put the Yorkshire grit on with this piece of cloth, but it'll still get rubbed in, and it's not going to leave any torn paper in the texturing. So spend a couple. Oh, sorry.
No, sorry. Go on. For hands.
You carry on.
Face with light brown Yorkshire gritty. There you go.
There you go.
And she didn't even need any encouragement.
No, absolutely not.
Now there's another question for you, Wayne. Woodworm Paul's saying, would you consider showing how to make an apple and colour it, please, so it looks real? Well, if I remember right, you've already done that on a live, haven't you? You did some fruit.
I did that in a live, yeah. But let's get that clocked in for next Wednesday.
There you go.
Okay.
There you are, guys. You're all set for an apple.
Rex B,
don't ask me to do a banana. Yep. Don't ask me to turn a banana. My name isn't Steve Twiddell, and I don't even think I could do what he does on a lathe, to tell you the truth.
I know.
He's just when it comes to that type of thing, he's out there. He's just totally amazing when he does that type of thing.
That's off-center banana.
The box, isn't he, with it?
Yeah. I mean, when I used to do a lot of fruit, because I used to do a lot of fruit. I used to supply a shop up in Argyll. I think it was called Once a Tree. This shop up in Argyll, and all they wanted from me was fruit, and I used to do a lot of cheese knives, cake slices, things like this.
All right.
And that's all they wanted. I used to buy the kits for the cheese knives and cake slices, but other than that, all they wanted was fruit. And at that time, I was turning. Well, I had a part-time job, nights, and the rest of the time I was turning. And I was actually doing, to fulfill their orders, I was doing 60 to 70 pieces of fruit a day.
Oh, you get fed up?
Oh, that's a full-time job, that is.
Rex joined us, and he apologises for being late. He was outside playing with his grandson, aged 5.
Oh, I'll let him off then.
Darren is looking forward to Wayne's apple. Aren't we all?
The apple I tend to do, again, we'll talk. Joe and I were talking earlier about my favourite intrinsic colours. My favourite intrinsic colours tend to be ruby and honey. But I think the last time I did an apple, it was a pink lady apple. And I think that was a mixture of ruby, flame and honey.
All right, that's nice.
And the pear that I did was a conference pear. And that was a mixture of forest green and earth, I believe.
So that's good. Because Darren suggests, could you do a pear as well, Wayne?
Yeah.
So that'll be good.
Need another
Things like
looks like
plums
Wednesday's
and
fruit
cherries
day.
and stuff like that, might
Right, the plums are fairly easy. The only difficult thing with the plum is that getting that dip in the one side.
Yeah.
right.
You know, because plums tend to go in at one side, and that you can either use a Dremel to do that, or you can hand carve it, or power carve it, or whatever. So I'm just finishing this off with some Hampshire Sheen microcrystalline wax.
So I have a
Just to
question here
finish the
from
bottom
Mike.
off.
A question here from Mike Poole.
Yeah.
He says evening. Oh, he's just in, or he's just shown himself. I have one of those texturing tools, but find I'm getting different depths of texture on side grain from
Yes.
end grain.
Yes.
Any idea what I'm doing wrong?
You're not doing anything wrong. That's going to happen.
Yeah.
The other thing that you'll find, if you're using an open grain piece of wood, the likes of oak and ash, you're going to get different textures on the end grain and the side grain on that. And you're also going to get different textures in between the hard grain and the soft grain. Now let me put this back on main camera. I might have to put it back on. Yeah, I'll put it back on the side camera. You might see better. Right, can you see how the texture on that changes direction?
Yeah.
That's basically because I changed the direction of the tool.
Great.
Ah, there we go. Yeah, you can see it now.
Eric Winkler has joined us.
Eric, just
Evening,
the
Eric.
man, just the man. Eric asked me a question or made a comment in one of my videos about a vase earlier on today, and I thought I'll wait and see if he's in the live tonight, and I'll answer him in the live. Right. With the wall thickness, Eric, of doing a vase, let's find a vase. I've got one in the back here somewhere, I think, or I had. Oh, there it is on the floor.
So I've just popped in the two links there, guys, for Mark's premiere and Zombie premiere later this evening.
So
make sure you
I'll have
pop
a sit
along
down.
see them.
I'll have a sit. This is going to go over the hour, by the way.
You're all right, mate.
Right.
25
Eric was asking a question about a vase and cleaning out the vase and the wall thickness of the vase. I believe this is what he was asking anyway. He said, is it going to make any difference if he leaves the inside wall or the wall thickness half an inch, or taking it down to something like a quarter or 3/8? Will that affect the balance? Because I think he's doing one with a flared top, a bit like the one that you did last week, Brian.
Yep.
With the flared top.
Yes.
That was the tool rolling off. Don't worry about that. The main thing to consider when you're doing the vase is whether it's going to stand and balance okay, is actually the width of the bottom. If you make it too thin down at the base, you're not going to be able to get a good balance, especially if you're going to be putting a set of heavy flowers in there. So you're better off having a wider base. It doesn't. The thickness of the wall doesn't really come into it. I hope that answers your question, Eric.
Woodworks has joined us. You've got 91 people in Wayne.
Excellent. Thanks very much for coming along, guys.
And can I just add, I've had some really nice comments about my singing tonight. It makes it all worthwhile when I get comments like that.
Oh, that's nice.
I'll play devil's advocate and consider Mark's not here. Must be a lot of tone deaf people in the chat.
Gee, I'm dropping everything tonight.
Thanks, Brian.
I'm only saying what Mark would say. But,
no.
It's not me, you understand.
Yeah, it is.
How's that looking? Better. Right, so I'll get the top of this flattened off to start off with.
Actually, Mark is still in the chat, so he'll be able to speak for himself. I love Woodturning. Adam has joined us, Wayne.
Hi, Adam.
Country
can you change
Wood
your
Girl is
camera
in
angle,
too.
please, Wayne?
Oh, sorry.
You're in the wrong place, mate.
And Country Wood Girl has come in as well.
Good evening. That's somewhere else I've got to get to as well. Get down to Cumbria and visit her. I keep on saying that and I never get around to doing it.
Yeah, and it's not that far away from me either.
It's not.
Colin Chalmers is in the chat.
Good evening.
Colin.
Colin Chalmers. Good evening, Colin.
Steve Fleming has actually asked me to sing again because he missed it. No, I don't think I have to subject everyone to it. I mean, you have to wait till next time, I think, Steve.
Too much of a good thing's bad for you. So don't forget, guys, if you like what Wayne's doing, there's a link in the description to buy him a coffee. So if you like it, please do, and give him a thumbs up. And subscribe if you're not already done so. I think maybe everybody in here has subscribed, though.
Possibly, yeah.
We have 92 watching, and you've got it.
Right. Just do a nice finishing cut on the top.
Oh, Beard is taking an opportunity to do a little advertising. He says he's sending a walking stick up to Cumbria next week.
Nice one.
Nice one, Rich. Dewey Shed has joined us. Good evening, Dewey.
Yeah.
Evening, Dewey.
Good evening, Dewey. Douglas Mungham has said, "No, Joe, the pain I cannot take anymore, lol." Thanks.
Yeah,
Douglas.
I don't know.
Thanks a lot.
Keep using the cheese, Douglas.
Brian.
Right. That's about the width of the rim I'm wanting. So again, I'll just start off with 120.
So how big's that rim weighing? About 2 inches or 3 maybe?
I'll just measure it and let you know.
It's quite big, doesn't it?
2
2¼
Oh, that's good.
Oh, that was a good eye.
I'll ask that question in a minute when Wayne's finished with the drill. Dewey.
Going about the Herald lathe.
Okay.
Yep. So Dewey's asking, what do you think? The record per Herald lathe, would you buy the legs or a bench mount?
I'd buy the legs.
It totally depends where you need to put it, Jay, really. But I had the bench mount and it fitted into my workshop nicely against the wall where I wanted it. But then if you need to move it anywhere at all, you may be better with the legs. I know that lathe of mine has now got legs on it for Joe.
I've used Dale's Herald and I've used Jamie's Herald. They've both got the legs and they've got the legs filled with sand, I believe.
Yep.
Right.
And it actually makes it very, very stable.
Yep. Yeah, the legs actually come hollow so you can fill them with something and dry.
There, Brian, if you want to repeat what you said.
Sorry, the legs on the record per lathe come hollow, and the best thing to fill them with is play sand, which has been killed and dried, so there's no moisture in it.
There's no moisture in it, so it won't rust the inside of the legs or anything like that, and it makes it extremely stable. I mean, I don't know if any of you have seen any of Jamie's videos, but he's mental. He tends to turn the majority of his stuff that he turns at about 1800 revs.
Yep. But he uses easy wood tools, doesn't he? Which are basically carbide scrapers. At the end of the day, that's what they are. And he turns some quite big and awkward shaped pieces as well.
He does, yeah. Here we go. So is this black then, Wayne?
Yeah, it's not coming out. I'll probably have to put a couple of coats on this. And the reason that I'm going across this way is that any overspray is actually going past the edge of the bowl. Whereas if I was to spray from this side in, I'd probably get a lot of overspray on the underneath here, which is why I'm going across this way.
Okay.
Makes perfect sense.
In fact, what I should have done, which I totally forgot to do, was texture this part before I did this. But it shouldn't be too much. Shouldn't be too much of a problem.
And how long will this take to dry?
It's dry now.
Okay.
It's dry. It's almost instantly.
It's such a fine spray.
Yeah.
And it's water based, and the wood will be slightly warm, I suppose.
Water based is.
Water based goes off pretty quick, as long as you don't put too much on.
Get that.
It doesn't take long. Darren Callison says he used lead shot over sand.
Oh, right.
Sand will trap the moisture and rust it out. Even kiln dried sand will attract moisture over time.
Yeah, true.
Lead also absorbs vibration better. Well, that's a good idea, Dan, I suppose.
Yeah.
I think a whole lot of lead would be expensive to pour down. But it certainly would be heavier, there's no doubt.
Sorry, did I say that out loud?
Yes.
What's that?
Inside voice. Just steal it off the roofs.
Ooh.
Joe, that's shocking.
Voice.
I used to work in a school, and that was forever happening. We eventually had to strip all the lead off and replace it. Yeah, we eventually had to strip all the lead off and replace it with like a bitumen material, which was like XPM with bitumen embedded in it.
Right.
To stop the little so-and-so stealing it.
The things that you have to do. Now, Douglas Mungham's got a question for you, Wayne. He says, can you texture after paint?
We are just about to find out.
I thought you were going to say that.
I've put a fair amount of stain on there, so I am going to give it just a quick dry with me hot air gun.
Darren actually has gone on to add that you don't have to fill it, and steel shot also works better than sand, although it's not as good as lead.
So, and RPM Woodworks has said, Woodworks by Colin, similar question, are the stands of the record 320 worth getting, or shall I stick with the bench?
I have got no idea.
No.
I've never seen the stand for that. Is that the adjustable stand you can get from Record? I'm not too sure.
It's not something I would know about either. Anybody in the chat got any ideas? Yeah, Darren has said that you don't have to fill it. Yeah, of course you don't. And steel shot also works better than sand, but not as good as lead. I suppose basically they're adding weight.
£1.40 a kilogram, apparently. Scrap lead. That's a lot.
That's expensive for lead, because it doesn't take very much to make a kilogram of lead.
No, I suppose it doesn't really, because I had to deliver a lead lump when I used to work for DPD, and I could hardly pick it up. It was only a small roll as well.
Mm-hmm.
The size of a thing of butter. That's all it was. And
I know. Yeah, Douglas says, Brian, did you not think of zinc flashing? We did, and they stole it.
Steal anything these days.
They will, yeah. The bitumen, XPM with the bitumen, it's like no value to them. They can't do anything with it.
Right. Okay.
That's why we used it.
Eric says, "Thank you, Wayne. Good answer. Back to work." So I
Bye,
believe
Eric.
he's leaving us. Bye, Eric.
Bye, Eric.
The Wood Dude has joined
That's
us.
not
Evening, Wayne, and everyone else. He's a tad late.
bad. Hiya, Stephen.
All right, Stephen.
Right, so I'll stick some texture on this. Turn the speed up a bit.
Is this the same texturing tool, Wayne?
Same texturing tool. I'll probably just put a couple of marks on.
Oh, look.
Yeah, I'm happy with that. Just a couple of bits of texture on there, and I think we are going to go for, let's see what I've got up here. No, not that one. Not that one.
Andy Flanelli, Posh Firewood, has just joined us.
Good evening,
Hey,
Andy.
Andy.
He says, "Evening, all. Better late than never." Well, that's true. You are late right now, Andy, but not to worry.
We'll
You're
forgive
here.
you.
That's the main. Yeah, that's the main thing.
That's what I'm looking for. I'm going to use the gold.
Ooh, special.
So Dan suggested to Ben that he has covered the ballasting of lace pretty well in the Woodturning International Facebook page. If you can search for it using Dan's name.
There you go. Sorted then.
Answer a whole lot of questions now.
Now, I can see that you're using your finger here.
Yeah.
Is that the best way for applying it, or are
No,
there
you could
different
use a cloth. It depends on, if I was to do this on the likes of a piece of ash, which
Yeah.
has got very open grain, and I wanted
Yeah.
to cover the lot of it, I probably would use a cloth.
Right. And can you wash it off your fingers easily enough?
Oh yeah, yeah. Washing
yeah.
up liquid.
No bother. Comes off easy.
Yeah, either washing up liquid or the back of your smock. One of the two.
It doesn't come off your smock so handy, but no, once it's dried in for a fortnight. Or 3 weeks or a month.
Oh.
It's okay, Glyn. Don't worry about it. I've got a new smock for the next show. Haven't worn it yet.
Oh, talk about new smocks. 2 new ones coming. Ooh.
You've got an elf that makes your smocks.
I have, yeah. I've got an elf, yeah.
I meant that in the nicest
big sister.
ways, just in case.
Yeah. It's the big sister elf.
What time's Mark's premiere on?
9:30, I think.
30:30. I best get a shift on.
Oh, you're all right. It's only 6 minutes to. You have plenty of time. And he's on in 36 minutes time, so you've lots of time.
Make sure that's nicely into all the texture. Chuck the lid on the floor.
Brian,
You're dropping
you're
the
in
stuff.
charge of doing the links tonight. Have you
Yes.
put a link in for Zombie Woodturner Zed's
Yes, it's done.
premiere?
They're both in.
You've done it.
They're both in, and I'll do them
11.
again just before the end, yeah.
And it's also
I
in
thought
my
you'd be on it.
description as well.
It is
I
indeed.
thought you'd be on it, but I just thought I'd ask.
It's okay, Joe. I know you were just checking up on me.
Well, yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, no, actually, it's more to the credit of myself remembering it, really.
Got Woodwardry by Colin. Want you to sing Goldfinger there, Miss Shirley Bassey. Oh no, sorry, Joe.
There we are. Can you see that?
We can.
Yes.
That's looking
3
not too
lines of
bad.
texturing. Yeah, it is indeed.
Right, I'll get this. I'll not do a finish on the rim yet. I'll get it all cleaned out, and then see what we're doing with the inside. Depending on the time, obviously.
Is Woodturning International on tonight? Woodturning International. That's a question for Ruby Claire.
I've got no idea what you're talking about, Ruby, to tell you the truth.
Me neither.
I find watching this so therapeutic.
Hollowing out the inside of a bowl is, I have to say, is. Might want to just drop your microphone a fraction, Wayne.
No problem. How was that?
Yeah, that's better, mate. One of the sensible thing is going to pop up a new post about the Woodturning International later today on the lake, on the ballast. And Martin's really putting himself show off when.
It actually just shows doing that. I went, okay, it might look, oh my God, what's he doing? Turning one-handed. But it just actually shows that you don't actually use your left hand for doing very much. You know, once you get your cut, it's basically your right hand that's doing the cutting.
I don't know whether I'd feel safe with that. I suppose it all comes with experience.
It does. So Larry Mart has just joined us. Says hello all. I've been watching for months. For the first time I've been in the chat. He says it's 98
Thank you very much.
Fahrenheit. He says it's 98 degrees Fahrenheit in Texas, so too hot for the shop and turning.
Well, good evening, Larry. Welcome.
Good evening, Larry.
So
welcome along.
Whereabouts in Texas are you?
Well, Texas is a big place, Ryan.
Oh, I know, it's a huge place.
Isn't it just? It's nice to see new names coming up.
It says just outside of Austin.
Okay.
Just outside of Austin, Texas. Very good. You're welcome, Larry. So despite the first question is yes, we are. You just asked Brian, are you and Rob the noisiest place in the world? On YouTube this week again with Robbo. We are Saturday morning, 11 o'clock. Unfortunately.
Rich Basic Green says, can you not fit England in the size of Texas? Well, probably England
Yeah,
will
probably,
go
but
into most of the...
I
yeah,
think you probably can quite a few times.
probably 3 or 4 times, I would think. Jason Lever has said Texas has just got one season, hot. Oh, that's interesting.
Yeah, either hot and dry or hot and wet. Now, if you want to see somebody who does this type of bowl properly, go and watch Nick Agar.
Properly, wasn't he? Nick Agar is an amazing turner. He's really artistic as well. Oh, now we've got my country's bigger than yours. Darren says South Australia, where Sid is from, is 45% larger than Texas, and Texas is 2.5 bigger than Victoria, where I'm from. We live in a tiny little country compared to the rest of the world, to be honest.
We do. And do I care? No.
Not a bit. I still don't travel the length of breadth every day. Andy the Woodward Learner says, Joe, have you fallen asleep? He's
Some
not in the
cheeky
background.
buggers out there.
Ah, but Joe's not there. Where is Joe?
Where is Joe? Okay, hang on.
I don't see her in the background.
Hang on a wee minute. She
Thank
must have
you.
dropped out. There
Oh,
she
there
is.
you are.
Yeah, I did say I was backstage and
I
what have you.
didn't see it. I didn't see it.
Nah,
Fair enough.
I'll let you off.
So we just come up to 9 o'clock now, then.
Run.
Oh, I like that. Boom in the middle.
Raised portion in the middle.
I'll be finished before, or I should be finished before Mark starts.
Oh, you should be, yeah. Plenty of time. So, Lewis got kicked off at the same time as you did, Joe.
It's not just me then. John Scarborough's having to go. He's thanking you for the demo, Wayne, and for
Cheers,
the
John.
earworming. So,
Thank you very much, John. Have a good evening, buddy.
Right, I'll keep that sanded to hand because I'm probably going to mess up with the colour here, and I might have to sand some colour out of it.
So
Get rid of all that.
Nick Agar calls this bowl something, doesn't it?
It's the Viking Sunset Bowl, I think he calls it.
Yeah, the Viking Sunset Bowl, that's it. If you want to see what the brain is referring to earlier. So I said, dear thunderstorms and hail right now.
aye.
Ooh. Because Ruby's in Canada. They get severe weather too.
Douglas
I
is
just want to
asking
look.
Wayne, is the bump in the middle to stop a funnel? Laugh out loud.
No, because I've actually got loads and loads left. I haven't actually done this very deep. Oh, put too much colour on there.
Did a bit, ran a bit. Get across in it quick.
Wiggle.
Or you can make a picture of it and pretend it's lightning.
Greg Alexander is coming to the chat. Good evening.
Hi, Greg.
Good evening, good afternoon, Greg.
Yeah, you do keep turning into Norman Collier, Brian, on your
Yeah.
audio.
Oh, that's this. I
Yeah.
don't. It's just my internet thinks it's getting as bad as Wayne's, to be honest.
Aye.
Sorry,
Actually,
Tommy.
you can't be
help
that
it,
many
really.
miles from Wayne, really, can you?
No,
Can't
we're
be
not.
that many miles.
We're pretty close as the crow flies.
Well, I'm about, it must be what, 80 or 90 mile from the southernmost tip of Dumfries and Galloway, which is nearly directly across the water from Brian. Nearly.
Stranraer.
He's further south than Stranraer.
Right.
Am I further south than Stranraer, or on the same level?
A little bit.
I don't remember now.
It's difficult because it's
Are you
quite
not?
shaped, isn't it?
Well, maybe you're not. Maybe you're not. Wayne. So Dewey said, "Is where do you find the video of Nick Agar?" Let me see.
Now I don't know if Nick actually puts many videos out. I've usually found him. If you type Nick Agar into the search machine on YouTube, you might come up with some demos he's done for Chromacraft, because he does a lot of stuff with Chromacraft, and you might get some demos of when he's done things at woodturning clubs.
Now, Spider Spider said, Norman Collier, you're showing your age now, Joe. Well, actually, I read that from Tommy's workshop. So I'm showing Tommy's age, really.
Right. What I'll do, I'll just sand back this part here, just to get rid of some of that. If I can get in there. Don't have to get it all out.
Just take the edge of it.
I'll put some other colour over the top of that anyway. Right.
So I've just popped a link into the chat there, guys, which takes you to a description of Nick Yeager's the Viking Sunset Bowl. It's actually not a video, but that'll direct you to where there is a video, I think. That was the woodturnersguild.com, and it's just a.
Now this is nothing like Nick Yeager's bowl, by the way.
No, nothing like it, but it's the basic shape is the same.
Yeah.
Is this
right, so that's the honey. Yeah, that's the honey. Turn that speed down a bit more. Oh, not that far.
Repeat what you said, Brian. Didn't hear you.
What about the Nick Yeager bowl?
No, I thought you just said something a moment. And
no, you're okay. No,
we lost you again.
You're okay. Doesn't matter. Doesn't matter.
Okay. Oh, I just love that combination.
So do I. Superb.
It's very nice to
right,
the
so
eye,
what I'll do now is put on some sand and sealer.
Which sanding sealer are you using?
This is the Chestnut Products aerosol sand and sealer.
Okay.
Dry that off a little bit with my hot air gun again. Just on the first speed and standing a fair distance, because I'm not wanting the sand and sealer to get overly hot and bubble up.
Does it bubble up easily?
It does, yeah, especially if you put too much heat on there.
Okay.
And sand and sealer will dry fairly, cellulose spray on sand and sealer will dry fairly quick anyway.
Okay.
I'm just going to knock that back with an orange web brass pad. Turn the speed back up.
Is this what you call denibbing?
Yes.
Yeah,
See, if you're using Yorkshire grit, there's no need to do this because the Yorkshire grit denibs it. But obviously on top of colour, I could actually, seeing as how I've put sand and sealer on, I could use Yorkshire grit on this. I have done in the past loads of times, and it doesn't really affect the colour because the colour's already gone into the wood. And you've got sand and sealer on top. Yeah. So what I'll do now is highlight that texture again in the middle with some gold embellishing wax.
The problem with that woodwork learners has just said, next time your mic goes funny, Brian, can you say exterminate, exterminate, exterminate? I'll try that, but the problem is I don't know it's went funny. It sounds okay from my end.
I'm just cutting off another piece of cloth.
I think if you have some success with that new system at Dale's getting going, Wayne, I might have to try it myself.
Yeah.
Because normally I get something like 6 megabits of upload, but sometimes it falls away about 3 or 4.
I mean, I get 5 download and less than 1 upload. That's what I get at the moment.
Shocking.
Right, I'm going to finish this off now with Hampshire Sheen microcrystalline wax.
Ruby's asking what colour the rim is. It's black.
Yeah, it's black.
Ruby.
It's the intrinsic colour black, Ruby, but it does tend to come out, certainly from me airbrush tonight, which I think probably needs a clean. It's come out more of a purple colour, to tell you the truth, a very dark purple. It's come out, which I've got to say I'm quite happy with. That's microcrystalline wax. I'll give that a quick buff.
Jason Leveren's shown his age. He said he loved Tom Barker as the best doctor.
Yeah, I liked him as Tom. Because didn't he have K9 with him?
No good asking me.
No good asking me either. I hid behind the sofa when it was on.
There you go, guys. What do you reckon?
I think it's nice, Wayne. Looks lovely.
Right, I'll take it off. I'll just move stuff out of the way. Change camera.
Combination of colours
and metals. Quickly. So there we have the bottom, which is, again, left plain, just with a bit of texture on there and a couple of burn lines to highlight the texture. And there we have the inside.
Yeah.
Again, texture lines on the rim. It is black, but my airbrush wasn't working properly, which is why it's come out more of a purple. It's been thinned down a bit, but I still like it. I like the colour.
Yeah, it's nice.
Texture in the centre, and the texture's been highlighted with gold embellishing wax, and the colours I've used are the black, the honey, and the ruby from the intrinsic colour range. So there you go.
Some really nice comments coming in, right?
Yeah.
Thank you, guys.
Awesome work.
Yeah, I will be putting photos up tomorrow. I'll not do it tonight because obviously it's well dark now, so I'll not get the light properly. But I'll stick photos up tomorrow. And thanks everybody for coming along. I'll bring the guys back in, guys and girls, I should say. And can I just say a big thank you to Joe and to Brian for helping out tonight. There's loads of stuff happening. When I realised Dale and Jamie and everybody were sort of doing the move today type thing, I shoved out a message to the rest of the guys to see if I could help. Mark's obviously doing stuff with Kim tonight. Steve's out for dinner with Terry and his missus. Steve and Nikki, I should say. They're out for dinner with Terry and Nikki. Joe's decided she's staying at home for the next 10 years, so she said she'd come in.
I have nowhere else to be, so it's grand.
And Brian was having a quiet evening drinking brandy and lemonade, so he thought he'd pop in as well.
Cheers, guys.
Cheers.
I've done collagen, I'm just on lemonade now. So.
Again, thanks everybody for coming in. It's always appreciated when people come in and watch the stupidness that I do on a Wednesday night. And I will be back on a Friday. And next Wednesday, I'll do some fruit. I don't know. I might have a bit of purple. I might have a bit of purple heart left that I can do a plum out of. And if not, I'll just do the sycamore and diet. Right, guys, I'm going to press the button.
So just hold on a second.
Do some cherries on my
Hold on a second.
Yeah, go on.
There's the 2 links for the following.
Oh, yes. Yeah.
Yeah.
So Barry's just putting the links in for Mark and for Zed. Mark's on at 9:30. I think Zed's on at 11:15.
That's correct.
Right. I am going to press the button, guys. Did you hear Joe there adding to the list next week? She wants plums and bloody cherries.
Plums and cherries. All right, okay.
Well, cherries are different, are they? Just like a small apple with a dip in the middle. Sorry.
Right. We'll see what happens next one.
Miles behind.
All right. Okay. Right. I'm gonna press the button anyway.
Okay, guys. Bye,
night, everybody.
Bye.
Bye.